In France, thousands have taken to the streets in opposition to President Emmanuel Macron, which has resulted in violent clashes with police and near 300 arrests already. Earlier this week, the outgoing Prime Minister, François Bayrou, was ousted in a vote of no confidence after only 9 months in the job. He's the fifth Prime Minister on the trot. 80,000 police have been deployed nationwide to face demonstrators. Take a look at some of the scenes on the ground.
Parce que les gens, ils en ont ras-le-bol. Ça fait 8 ans qu'on subit ça. Si on pense qu'à Macron, mais après, on avait Hollande, on avait Sarko. Les gens, ils en ont ras-le-bol. On ne peut plus vivre, on peut plus...
Donc voilà, nous, on considère que c'est pas parce que Bayrou n'est plus au gouvernement que les choses ne vont pas, que les choses ne changeront pas. En fait, le budget, on sait très bien qu'il ne changera pas. Et donc, on est ici pour revendiquer. On n'est pas d'accord. On n'est pas des gens méchants, mais par contre, le peuple, il est en colère. Donc voilà.
Nous avons eu près de 200 interpellations avec une cinquantaine d'actions de déblocage qui concernent aussi bien des rocades, des voies, qui concernent de dépôts, trams, bus, etc. sur l'ensemble du territoire.
All of this happening in France as 19 Russian drones enter NATO airspace over Poland. To discuss all of this is Professor Anthony Glees, European Affairs expert at the University of Buckingham. You'll know his face by now. We have him on the show regularly. Professor, nice to have you back. Let's start with what's going on. I've had a read this morning of your Daily Mirror article. When was the last time you saw something this serious happening over Poland?
Well, I wasn't alive then, but it was undoubtedly September 1939. And, you know, this is September 2025. But the parallels with September 1939 are absolutely horrifying. And in September 1939, you had an aggressive power, Nazi Germany, with its allies at that time, Russia, the Soviet Union, fighting left, right and center, picking an aggressive war with Poland and France in complete disarray. France was defeated at home before Hitler defeated it at war. And Britain, meanwhile, struggling with Neville Chamberlain, who built his reputation on trying to appease Hitler, finding himself dragged into the last European war before the one in Ukraine, which in December 1941, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, became the Second World War. These world wars don't happen overnight. They happen incrementally, but only a complete idiot could fail to see that the big steps in that descent into a world war have already been taken. And unless something serious and effective and immediate is done by Europe to stop Putin ever more aggressive, encroaching ever more on European security, I fear we will see World War III.
Geez, it's a grave warning to wake up to here in New Zealand, Professor, but nonetheless a real worry. Is the fact that Russia has come out, as far as I understand it, the Kremlin says this was an accident rather than a directive, does that take some heat out of it?
No, it's complete nonsense. Nothing happens in a totalitarian police state like Russia without the boss agreeing to it. So Putin has agreed to everything. He agreed to the flight path for the drones. He agreed that they should go over Polish territory, that they should undermine Polish sovereignty in order to see whether or not NATO would react. It wasn't a declaration of war against Poland, but it was a declaration of war against Poland's sovereignty that we saw just a few hours ago, effectively. Now, if NATO does nothing, then Putin will take it as a green light to carry on with the things that he wants to do. And when he reads the newspapers, what does he see? He sees President Trump increasingly clueless, caught up in the Epstein affair, which has also trickled over into, or deluged over, I should say, into British politics, even as we speak. It could end with the fall of Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. It's that serious. And then those pictures from France, one of the most important economies in the world, a key player in the power of the European Union, and one of the strongest opponents of Putin in Europe. France, a tinderbox, subversive students, young people. You saw from the pictures that you presented there. These are all young people, you know, rings in their noses and what have you, out to destroy the democratically elected president of France, Emmanuel Macron. And that there are Russian agents out there in the streets, not just Paris, Lyon, Nantes, other big cities. That would come as no surprise. All of this serves Putin and only Putin. So this is really the mother and father of political crises in our time, and as I say, a repeat of the situation that we saw in September 1939. We at least have history to warn us, which they didn't have in September 1939.
Professor, you're talking about France there. In terms of the political situation, does that they've obviously changed prime minister? I think it's the fifth they've had in this term for Macron. Does it really matter who the prime minister is? If you've still got, after those snap elections, these entrenched blocks of centre, left and right who just can't decide on anything?
Well, if that's right, but if France becomes paralysed because it is so divided between the right, the far right and the far left that the centre has disappeared altogether, then the power that France should be exercising in Europe and in the world disappears at a stroke. As far as the French are concerned, I think they will be reminded not only of September 1939, but the dark days of 1957 before General de Gaulle moved in, abolished the Fourth Republic and set up the Fifth Republic, designed to give the President of France strong authority and power and rule France with an iron hand if needs be. What we're seeing in France right now is an attempt by young people to undermine the Fifth Republic, and how Macron can play it. There is no General de Gaulle out there who could move in. There is nobody that can save France from itself, as de Gaulle was able to do. So the impact on Europe in particular of France in disarray is absolutely critical. And you turn then to the situation in the United Kingdom. We are as staunch in our support for Ukraine and our opposition to Putin as is France. We work together with France above all others, and of course Germany, that's true. As for Trump, he's completely taken up with the Epstein allegations, and that has now impinged on the key role of the British ambassador to DC, Lord Mandelson, who it transpires was a best pal of Jeffrey Epstein.